this is a pretty easy one. We've talked about it a little before, but I think it's maybe worth just throwing out again. Brendan asked, do you have revision limits? I generally don't get many revisions, but occasionally there's one producer artist. And I think the answer is no, never.
Never.
Yeah.
Wait, you occasionally get revisions? Good for you. whoever that is, good for you. I'm not version 1 mix god or whatever some people think of some other people. I like revisions. I like collaboration. So I think that it genuinely tends to make the final product better when artists feel more attached to the communication and collaboration of it. And every once in a while it's nailed, or the vibe should be nailed on the first pass, so you can make revisions and notes from there. If that's not nailed on the first pass, then maybe you're not the right fit or something. But you know what I'm saying.
And the dirty little secret of experience, or that experience gives you, is that it turns out when you think you have at least, especially on a production level, and maybe slightly less so on a mix, but on a production level, when you get notes and you're like, but I thought I nailed it, almost every time, the vast majority of notes and feedback make the song better. Yeah. Because it forces you to make different decisions and try things. Exactly. And you go, oh, I did make that chorus bigger, or the vocal wider, or that ad-lib really is better, and I wouldn't have thought of that if I didn't get the note. And then the other thing I want to say, which we've talked about before, John, you are, of course, one of those people. My experience, I always tell this story, and now, of course, I can't remember if it was a Little Mix song or One Direction song or what, but getting a call from the label that they were on mix revision 15 or something, and they couldn't get the guitar background vocals right or something, and then so I got on the phone with Serban, and oh, are you still there?
I'm there. You're frozen.
I'm frozen. Is this happening again to us? This happened last week a little bit.
I mean, I can still hear you.
Yeah, I don't know why it's frozen. Well, I'll finish the story and then see if we can. Oh, there we go.
You're back.
Let's see. Someone like Serban, you just do 20 revisions if that's what's necessary. And look, if you do the job and you crush it and you go out on a good note and you get it done, and then if in the end you don't want to work with those people in the future, don't work with them in the future if you don't want to do 20 mixed revisions. But that's part of the job. The job is to, and mixed revisions are not that hard. It's not like you go, give us a whole new mix on mix 12. It's like, turn this up a little bit, turn that down. Revisions are not that hard. No. So I think the answer is there's no limit to mix revisions. You want to be known as someone who is going to get it to where it needs to be. I've done full reproductions on songs without getting paid more. It's like, that's just what it is.
If you're resistant to that, this isn't the gig for you.
It's not the gig for you. This is as you can tell by the proliferation of conversations like this, the ability to produce records and make records on a laptop, things like Splice, like everybody can make records. The thing that's going to separate you on a career level is being easier to work with, doing great work, having your own sound, and going all the way to mix revision 25 if that's what's necessary. I mean,
I'll throw in one caveat though. I think if you're at mix revision anything and the vocalist wants to recut the vocal and it's a whole new vocal performance, I ask for more money for the time. I ask for added studio fee because that's a whole remix. If it's a new vocal, it could be a different mic. That affects everything. So that's where I'll draw the line, is if a whole new vocal gets recorded or whole new almost anything after we've already agreed on a mix vibe, that's different. So but I won't ask for another mix fee. I'll just ask for some sort of studio time fee just for recall and stuff like that. So
I think that's one caveat. Totally appropriate.
And that's discretionary. That's not always. It's when I'm Josh and I are assessing it and be like, this is going to be a lot more work. And it's not on me. Like, I mixed the vocal you sent me. So I did my job already with what was sent. So that's not a mix revision to me. That's a change in the production.
That's a remixing of something.
Yeah, potentially a remix. So that's the only one I'll throw in and say I add more, but not a whole other mix fee.
You don't want to be in a position where you're a guy who doesn't seem flexible and is not willing to go the extra mile. Sometimes it does mean, I said that sometimes I've done reproductions. That's what it really is like I've done a full production and then we've stripped it back to almost nothing because they were like, we love that, we thought we wanted the big thing and that's great, but can we just do like 10% of it, and then all of a sudden it's really stripped back. And it's like, yeah, that's part of the process. There's other times where I've done a full production, it's been accepted, I've done the mix, we've sent it off, and then they're like, we actually have a different idea and now we want to feature on it. And so I go back and do a whole different thing, and I get a separate fee. And so there's definitely exceptions to that. You're absolutely right.
But I like let's just double down on your point of just be flexible. And it's all discretionary. Don't be the guy that takes advantage of every situation to money grab. It's just not.
As always,
nobody likes that.
So much of our job, producing, mixing, anything in that realm, is about servicing the creative vision of someone else. And you got to put yourself in their position and go, if I'm hiring people, I don't want to have I want to have all the confidence that they're going to go as far as it needs to go to get it right. I don't want to have to worry about paying a little extra if I want to then turn something down, or 3 weeks into living with it, I decide I actually don't want that shaker and that part, and I want to strip it back. Like, you put yourself in the position of the artist, and you want to be the person that the artist wants to hire.
Look, we've talked about this a few times. I truly believe that a good mix reveals flaws in production and writing, right?
Yeah.
So if you do your mix and someone's like, doesn't really need the shaker in the third verse, and they decide that on mix past 7, mute the shaker.
Just mute that shit and bounce it again.
And like, also make the discretionary choice during it. Maybe the hi-hat that comes in on the third verse was to thicken up the shaker, but you thickened up the shaker. Maybe you don't need the hi-hat anymore, and the hi-hat can come back in the hook. You can also try to make some calls like that, because you're understanding the intention of why certain layers are put there. Is it a feel thing? Is it a trying to fill out a sound thing? Sometimes 6 synths don't sound as good as 2, because 6 synths phase something out, which made someone, or the 5th synth, phase something out, which made someone say, oh, now it's lacking here. I need to add this like mid-range version. But when you mix that main synth sound full, you don't need the other 3 layers to fill it out anymore,
Thanks for watching. Just a reminder, all of this content is free. There's no secret knowledge here. We don't have sponsors. We don't run ads. We don't have a Patreon. All that we ask in return is that you share it with somebody. Thanks.